Hello there, so how to avoid or cure programming burnout. And it's really worth saying that you should be avoiding it as much as possible, because getting yourself in a hole and trying to get out of it and doing it again over and over again is not a story anyone wants to hear. So, what is the secret? The secret is simply have fun with it. And that's pretty much it. Make it as, I'm not gonna use the word fun, but positive as possible. Even if you're not gonna be drawn to it, which very much could be the case, at least you make it as easy as possible. And there are some bad things. So if you pressure yourself, that's not gonna be good. If you have expectations, especially early on, you might have expectations that you can do things, it's just gonna go right. But, if you have more experience than you expect that everything's gonna go well, it's completely pointless. These expectations might go up with stakes. So you might be okay with making small stuff, but when it comes to, real stuff, like, oh my god, this needs to be right or something. Even if you get experience constantly and you get overwhelming experience, but you keep expecting more and more, then you're basically always in a hole. So bad things to do would be continuing when you are tired or frustrated. Now, you might get the impression that, oh yeah, I'm gonna win the day when I'm tired or frustrated. But in my experience, that rarely happens. In fact, what I might do in such cases might be just counterproductive. But most of all, you're kind of giving yourself a bad experience. You're associating the act of programming with negative feelings, which is not what you want to do if you want to make it easier for yourself. And also, you might just spend 6 hours, 8 hours, or just trying to fix something and realize that possibly, the next day, that you're doing it wrong. In fact, you made things a total mess. What you did was completely unhelpful. It would have been better if you did nothing. It certainly would have been better if you just took a break, maybe relaxed or slept, and then got back to it. Because the more negative you make the experience of programming, the more you want to avoid it and escape it. Especially when you're starting out or trying to catch back up, you might want to avoid too long things or too hard things. Now, I don't think long is necessarily a problem, but if you're just trying to tackle something hard, or harder than you can do, that could be just straight unhelpful. Because you would still have to work up to it. So it would certainly make sense to break things down, possibly don't go too big, too early, but also you don't start by building rocket, just to start with something smaller. In fact, if you're just doing your own things, then you would have to learn that it's not just programming, but planning has a big part in it. I think discipline is a little bit too emphasized these days. I mean, you can argue for it, possibly just to get started, just give you a little bit of push, but will it keep you going? Because I would place my bet on whoever kind of enjoys what they are doing the most, and whoever gains the most satisfaction from it. Whoever finds it the most rewarding. They are the most likely to perform the best and do it as much as they can. In fact, they might just do it a lot. You might get to the point where you're just doing it 14 hours a day. And that you might burn out because of that. Because you don't have any balance. But in that case, you can just scale back a little bit or add some variety. That's good too. You can a little bit think about it you're a program too. So you can program yourself to like programming more. You want to positively reinforce programming, not just with rewards, I would argue. Those can be okay, but I would argue you can have the mindset of love the doing and like the rewards. That's gonna be more useful than if you just love the rewards. It literally does not make sense to make it a miserable experience. You're just gonna have worse results and a worse experience. I will also lightly touch on false attribution, because you might think that it's programming that you hate, but that might not be the case. So if you're struggling to program at all, I would just say that think of the most fun thing and just do that. That's it. It doesn't have to be a full-time thing. It doesn't have to save humanity. You can just do it because you want to. And by the way, you do have control over many aspects of false attribution. So, for example, it would probably not be a good idea to program at night or late night because you're probably tired, you're gonna enjoy it less, maybe you're gonna get cranky or something. Especially if you're hoping for some kind of hero moment like, oh my god, that one bug, I'm gonna fix you, and it's already been hours, and you're not making progress, you're like, oh my god, no. And perhaps eventually you admit defeat, but the next morning you're like dreading that thing, oh my god, I hate that. So it does seem like it's programming that you don't like, but you also did it under less than ideal circumstances. So of course it sucked. You just tried to fix a problem and you couldn't. And you're too tired to. But making it as positive as possible is not just trying to remove all the negatives, but adding positives. So what could be it? Like, I don't know, like you're drinking tea, you like tea. Or it could be something else. It could be like listening to music. Now, in some cases, you might turn off the music if you really need to concentrate, but listening to music could make it more fun. Oddly, one thing that might make it more fun is some kind of standing desk or something in some cases. Because if you're sitting down, then you might feel tired, a little sleepy. But if you're standing up, especially if you're listening to music, then you're buzzed. You feel energetic. Even if you need to sit down sometimes, a mix is probably gonna be superior to just sitting all the way. A good mindset to possibly get into is that your mood directly correlates to productivity. Yeah, sure, you can make yourself do things and be cranky about it, but you gotta take a longer view. Suppose there's gonna be like a 50,000 hour race. Or possibly endless. And just go with endless. What would be the best strategy? It's not about sneaking in one more hour, but getting as far as you can. And so that's it. Have fun with it.